Japanese and Chinese vessels have engaged in a fresh standoff around the Senkaku or Diaoyutai Islands this week. The Japan Coast Guard said 2 China Coast Guard ships entered Japan's territorial waters around the Senkakus and left a few hours later. It was the second incident since China launched its coercion campaign against Japan. This was Japan's chief cabinet secretary after the first incursion on November 17th.
中国海警船が尖閣諸島周辺の我が国領海に侵入したことは誠に遺憾であり、これを受け入れることはできません。引き続き緊張感を持って尖閣諸島周辺の警戒監視に万全を尽くすとともに、中国側に対しましては冷静かつ毅然と対応してまいります。
Meanwhile, through its state media and social media platforms, China is once again pouring doubt on the status of Okinawa. The deputy director of China's Center for China and Globalization, Gao Zikai, publicly called on China to adopt the Ryukyu status undetermined narrative to counter Japan. He urged Beijing to fully support the indigenous people of the Ryukyu Islands in pursuing self-determination and independence. So, what is it that China is aiming to achieve?
Well, I think first of all, we have to thank Takaichi for getting China to publicly reveal its desire for Okinawa so emphatically. That was an excellent piece of fallout. We were just talking about Ishigaki and Yonaguni. Let me just point out that those are part of Okinawa Prefecture. So any claim that the PRC is going to make to Okinawa is inherently a claim to Ishigaki and Yonaguni and the other islands out there. In the same way, PRC claims tend to lead to follow-on claims, the way, for example, occupying Tibet has now have them making a claim to India's Arunachal Pradesh. And those islands have old connections to Taiwan. In fact, there was a black market into the ROC period after the end of the war, well into the 50s. I think the Americans put a stop to it. So another thing that they're trying to accomplish here is a kind of symmetry. Well, if you're going to claim that that the status of Taiwan is undetermined, we're going to claim that the status of Okinawa is undetermined. That's the kind of strange games that they play. Mm-hmm. But fundamentally, this is the signal. They want Okinawa, and they want the islands on the other side of Taiwan. Mm-hmm. And that is why they are so upset about those missiles being there.
Mm-hmm. Titus, as well as Ishigaki and Yonaguni, and even Senkakus being part of Okinawa, of course, there's also the US presence there. So how much is this about sowing distrust and within Japan, but the Japan and US relationship?
Well, I think Okinawa used to be a kingdom, but that was long past. Japan annexed this kingdom, but nowadays, very few people in Okinawa fully support independence or what PRC called the self-determination. Maybe just 3 or 4% of Okinawans pursue independence. Most residents of Okinawa, they seek higher level of autonomy, and they are very concerned about U.S. military bases because it generates a number of social issues there, but they don't pursue independence. So every time China, and this Ryukyu or Okinawa status undetermined, this theory is always there, submerged, until there's tension between Japan and the PRC, and the Chinese government resurfaced it or recycled this theory to get on Japan's nerve. So the more Beijing talks about Okinawa status undetermined, I think the closer the U.S. and Japan will come together. Mm-hmm. So it backfires, and it does not generate the desirable effect as Beijing seeks.